Well, the Niners finished third in the NFC West with a record of 10-7 last season. This year, the team fully lies in the hands of quarterback Trey Lance. A moment Lance said that he's been preparing for since the day that he's been drafted. Looking at some odds here, the win total set at 10 to make the playoffs. We're looking at minus 220. And as you can see, to win the Super Bowl, plus 1,600. All right, for your 2022 49ers betting preview, let's welcome in Larry Hartstein, ready to make us some money. I'm excited for this. We're going to start with the man at the helm, Kyle Shanahan, going into his 6th season as the head coach of the Niners. He's at plus 1,500 odds to win Coach of the Year. Can you see it happening, Larry?
Well, it could if Trey Lance plays like an MVP and has a great year and lives up to his potential. Kyle Shanahan will get all the credit, and deservedly so. He's one of 6 co-favorites at 15-1, and you see the others alongside him. And out of that group, I just think you have to like Kevin O'Connell of the Vikings, because he's the only one taking a losing team with basically the same roster. And if he gets them to the playoffs or even, shocks the Packers and takes that division, I think Kevin O'Connell more likely. But Kyle Shanahan, taking over a great team. If Trey Lance does well, he'll get some votes. And it's good. It's a regular season honor because we know what happens in the playoffs with some of those decisions, like punting from the Rams 45 with a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan in the playoffs has not been great.
No, we'll see if we can get to that point again. And you talked about Trey Lance there. Shanahan coming out announcing that Trey Lance is going to be named the starting quarterback for the Niners. Over/under set at 3,475 and a half passing yards for that young quarterback. Thoughts on that number?
I think he's going to have a great year, but I don't think he's going to go over this number. This is actually the lowest number of any quarterback in the NFL that Caesar Sports put out. It's 50 yards lower than guys like Carson Wentz and Ryan Tannehill, and about 75 yards lower than Jalen Hurts. And the Niners are a run-based team. They ran the 4th most rushing plays last season, and that's only going to increase this year. If you look at training camp so far, you're seeing some read option plays with Trey Lance. If he's got Elijah Mitchell, he's got Deebo Samuel. They've got Jeff Wilson. They pay big money to a fullback in Kyle Juszczyk. And of course, you're going to get Trey Lance running the ball. So I think he is going to have a very good year, but it's going to be a dual threat, and I'm going to go under on his passing.
When they were talking to Lance, the media obviously was asking just about being named the starting QB, and he said, honestly, I'm just hoping the biggest difference is that you guys stop asking me about it. I'm sure that would get annoying after every single day, just answering those questions. Well, maybe no one is a bigger beneficiary of Lance's elevation than George Kittle. You got to think tight ends and young quarterbacks, they're always good buds there. So what do you think about Kittle and his performance that we're looking for this year?
You look at the number 800.5 receiving yards. It looks low for George Kittle, was over 900 last year. But, he's missed 13 games over the past 3 seasons, and we only have a small sample size of George Kittle with Trey Lance. Trey Lance started 2 games. George Kittle only played 1 of those, but it didn't go well in terms of his fantasy output and in terms of his prop output. 1 catch, 2 targets, 29 yards. And like we said, I think this is going to be a heavy run-based attack. That doesn't mean it won't be explosive, but if I had to say it, I'll go under on George Kittle.
All right, how about the playoffs? So many questions surrounding this team. Obviously, a new fresh start. They're at minus 220 to make the playoffs, plus 180 to miss them. What are your thoughts there?
I like them to make the playoffs. It's heavy juice, but you got the best left tackle in Trent Williams. You have the best playmaker in all of football in Deebo Samuel, probably the best offensive mind in Kyle Shanahan, putting in a rookie who's very raw but supremely talented. And you look at the schedule there. I just think this is a playoff team. They have an elite defense as well. Over the last 10 to 12 weeks of the season, this was the best defense in football. You put all that together in an NFC that is not, in my mind, is not as tough as the AFC. And yes, I think the 49ers going back to the playoffs, the win total sitting right at 10, which is a perfect number. I don't want to play that, but I will play them to make the playoffs.
So you don't like the win total. What about their playoffs total? So you think they're going to make that? They're at plus 1,600 to win the Super Bowl, but kind of going backwards from there, plus 700 to win the NFC, plus 180 to win the division. What do you think of those odds?
Not a bad look at the division when you look at the Rams losing Von Miller. The Rams have a brutal schedule. Bills, Bucks, Packers, Cowboys. Of course, both of these teams will have to play the AFC West, the best team, the best division in football. I think the Cardinals take a step back with DeAndre Hopkins getting suspended, losing Chandler Jones, Christian Kirk, Chase Edmonds, and then the Seahawks in total rebuilding mode. So yeah, the Niners at plus 180 to win the division. I might take a stab at that.
All right. Now for fun, let's look at week 1. Niners, they're opening the season playing the Bears in Chicago. The over-under for that one is set at 42. What do you like here?
Interesting to see such a big spread with such a low total. That just tells you how bad the Bears are going to be this year. I have a 12-1 ticket on the Bears being the worst team in football. They definitely have the worst offensive line in football, and against Bosa and Armstead and Drake Jackson, the 49ers rookie edge rusher, I think the 49ers are going to wreak havoc. Kyle Shanahan, 19-9 against the spread on the road in the last 3 seasons. He has a whole offseason to game plan and script Trey Lance for this opening game against a Bears team that doesn't have Khalil Mack, doesn't have Nichols, doesn't have Goldman, doesn't have Hicks, and I could go on and on. The Bears are rebuilding, and it's such a salary cap mess that they have to get out of. I'll lay it with the 49ers.
Gotta love it, Larry. You're going to be with us for a lot this hour, so don't go anywhere. We have much more coming from you, but as always, thanks for joining us. As far as the Niners go, if we take a look at the future picks, so Trey Lance, the over-under on that one, even though it's the lowest number for any quarterback, our guy Larry's still going with the under there. He likes Kittle for the over 800.5 as far as yards go, and also, of course, liking the Niners to make the playoffs at minus 220.
Instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.